Good morning, everyone. I am Russell Stambaugh, a retired clinical psychologist and sex therapist, here at the American Psychological Association's annual conference in Washington, D.C. on August 5th, 2023. And I'm here to confer the Race Bannon Advocacy Award on Susan Wright, the 2023 recipient of that august award. And with me to help do that work are Tess Zachary, our chairman of the board of directors and chief executive officer, our finance chair and director, Archer Shelton. Here is my award recipient, Susan Wright, our executive director and founding member of NCSF, and next to her, Kelly Beaton, one of our other very early members who has for a long time served as our membership director. And we have teamed up to confer this award on Susan. It is the 6th Race Bannon Advocacy Award. The Race Bannon Award was instituted by the board of directors in 2018. And the first recipient was Race Bannon himself, a founding member of NCSF and a great contributor to the leather communities. The second award winner, 2019, was Gail Rubin, noted kink activist, professor, and writer, chronicler of kink history. Our third award winner was Vi Johnson, the founder of the Carter Johnson Leather Library in Evansville, Indiana, and a great chronicler of leather get-togethers, preserver of Black history. In 2021, we awarded it to Charles Bozier, who did all the academic and intellectual writing challenging the American Psychiatric Association's DSM-4TR definitions of the paraphilias. And last year, we gave this award to Janet Hardy for her work as a writer and publisher of Greenleaf Press. So Susan is our 6th award winner, and we're turning to one of our own, the second member of NCSF, to receive it because of her seminal contributions to the organization from its very inception. The story of NCSF actually begins 9 years before its founding as a consequence of a police raid that was conducted not even in the United States but in Great Britain. And a number of gay leathermen were arrested for making a film which Scotland Yard thought might be a snuff film, but was actually routine erotica for their community. And as a consequence of their arrest, they were all charged with assault. And when they tried to use consent as a defense against assault, they had agreed to the very activities that the police had arrested them for. A huge court case wound its way through the British judicial system until 1993, when finally the House of Lords, which serves as the Supreme Court for Britain, decreed that Britain really was confirmed not having consent as a defense, and that all the people by that time had served 3 to 5 year prison sentences. This was appealed all the way to the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg, and in 1995, that the unanimous membership of the Court of Human Rights confirmed that Britain was within its rights to not allow consent as a defense, and no human rights were violated by their so doing. And so the case was lost, was tragically lost, and people here in the United States became afraid that the jurisprudence in Britain was going to cross the Atlantic. Leather organizations like the National Leather Association and pansexual organizations like the Tilly Jugendspiegel Society and Society of Janus on the West Coast to come together and be the first coalition partners and tried to devise an advocacy organization which would protect the rights of kinky people on this side of the Atlantic. Susan was there at the foundation of the National Coalition for Sexual Freedom, and as a result of her gifts as a writer, became our spokesperson. She's been our spokesperson for 26 years in the highly contested arena of sexual rights in the United States, which has been a lively fight throughout the entire ensuing period. She has 3 gifts I'm going to highlight today that underpin our decision to give her the award. One is the eloquence and diplomacy behind it. We'll see what color I can get it to change. The eloquence and diplomacy with which she has served as our spokesperson, which is an extraordinarily hard job. In order to know what to say and when to say it, she also instituted the policy of keeping track of all the different interventions that the National Coalition of Sexual Freedom does to support our coalition partners and members of the kinky community who get in various kinds of difficulty and ask for our help. Key among those are legal problems that people have because they're prosecuted or legally discriminated against because they're exercising their sexual freedoms, but also we intervene in disputes and consent violations, problems that come up. We help give management advice to kink groups so that they can provide a safer, more secure, and discreet environment for people to exercise their rights. And we try to help keep our coalition partners thriving in what is a changing and difficult marketplace. That process, which we call IRR, forms the basis for data gathering, keeping track of all those interventions, is the beginning of research policy. And NCSF's character, for which Susan is largely responsible. She has tried to make what we do data-driven, and out of that has grown research into the kink communities itself. So she's become a leader in research on the kinky communities, up there with academic organizations, of which there are a few, and other community organizations, such as TASHA. So you're personally responsible for the fact that research is such an important part of the services that we give to our coalition partners, and it has everything to do with our effectiveness in the third area for which Susan is responsible, and that has to do with our work with professional organizations. Why we chose to make this award here is because this is the biggest and baddest of the professional organizations at which we are continuously represented. The American Psychological Association has at least 25,000 attendees in this 3-day event. And while it isn't as big in the policy arena as the American Psychiatric Association has been, Susan has been right there for every one of the interventions to lobby with professional organizations to provide better services to the kink communities. This especially includes her work on the DSM-5 revision and the paraphilias committee back in the 2000 aughts, before the new DSM-5 came out in May of 2013. And combining that with her research skills, she's also been able to document just how much relief from stigma people in our community have had, particularly with respect to child custody, just as a result of the changes in wording in the DSM-5. So for these contributions and being the heart and soul of the National Coalition for Sexual Freedom, and for having earned that, doing all the hard work of that IRR public data gathering and service, we are awarding the Bannon Advocacy Award for 2023. No one has ever deserved it more. There you go. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you, Russell, for that tribute. That was really wonderful. I really appreciate it. And thank you, NCSF, for giving me the Race Bannon Advocacy Award. When I started this work, I was very aware that I stood on a foundation that had been laid by many activists before me. And I wasn't sure how long NCSF would last, but I really wanted to carry a few bricks and add them to that foundation. And I was hopeful for what we would accomplish in fighting the stigma and discrimination that we face. And then look what happened. 26 years later, here is the National Coalition for Sexual Freedom. And I think in all that time, the one thing I've really realized is that starting this as a grassroots advocacy coalition and drawing from the communities is what made us so powerful. It's more than one person. It takes the hundreds of people that have contributed over the years. So I really want to, in turn, thank Kelly, my husband, who is the longest standing volunteer that we've had at NCSF, as well as Tess, our chairperson, and Russell and Archer, board members, as well as the other board members, because without this support, I couldn't have done this work. And I'm so grateful that I was able to work with so many wonderful people throughout the years, and that we've accomplished so much. And I look forward to what we can accomplish in the future. So thank you very much.
It is indeed our honor.